Yes, the Union Jack. There it is. My friend over there, David. All right. Some more cans with that. I always like to show people this. This was in the late 60s. This is a tree torn racket. So many people think of tree torn as shoes, but they do tennis rackets under this. So what's cool about this racket, what's unique about it is it has a replaceable head. So if you break a string, you just pop another one in and you're ready to go. It's kind of unique. Here's our friend Jimmy Connor's racket. Yeah. Has anybody ever played one of these? Yeah. Tear your elbow up. But yeah. And then Arthur Ashe is a wonderful competition racket. And then I had mentioned earlier about tennis, but it started in 1962. I mentioned that. And the reason why I swear to say that it started in 62 is because Rod Laver won his first Grand Slam in 1962. And that encouraged people to start playing, I think. And then he, in 1968, is the start of open tennis. And that was huge for tennis as well. And then we did it in 1972 was the top of 9. That really helped out. And then the match of the century with Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King. And so this is what I take a look at that. That thing is super heavy. They do all these things to commemorate the match. Here's Bobby Riggs says, I challenge you to tennis at night without any lights. It's usually amazing. Night sports ball. Lights up for nighttime tennis to the ball games. And all kinds of stuff like that. Billie Jean King, her racket. This particular brand, some of you all are quite familiar with T.A. Davis rackets. They, in my opinion, most collectors feel like they made the most beautiful wood racket. This is what they call their Lady Elite. And you know, some of these things are just real athlete and work of art. It's just a gorgeous racket. And so a lot of those. Chrissy Everett, you know, everybody loved Chrissy. And there's some people that are around here in Lexington that still hit the racket just like Chrissy. And it's funny how she inspired so many young ladies to play. This is Stan Smith's actual shoe that he wore. And he played with this Fisher racket, which is an unusual shape. This thing was only won in 1972. This is a program for the International Tennis Classic. Here's my favorite racket of the more modern wood rackets. This is a beauty. Oh, you like it? Oh my gosh, I love this racket. And I think there's some other people that mentioned to it. I was looking at it earlier, but you know, Lord, you know, can you imagine how many he would have won if he got 9, retired at 26? But that's a gorgeous racket. This is an oddity. So they used to sell these. So you can put your balls in here and pump them up to try to repressurize them. I don't know where any of these things actually work, but they make an oddity for collectors. Here's my buddy Vilas and his head racket. That was a great talk. I remember lots of people playing that racket. Here's a 16-year-old Tracy Austin who won the U.S. Open in 1981, I think it was. And then these are more modern cans that you all probably recognize that they made in the 70s into the early 80s. This Wilson and Finn are most common. Here's our friend McEnroe and his racket. Next slide, McEnroe. This is a transitional racket. This is a graphite composite, wood and graphite. That's actually the racket I played with. I went to Kramer. I tried this one out briefly before I made my transition over to Prince. Then also Wilson made this racket, which is a combination of it's got boron in it and graphite. It's wood graphite boron. Wilson looks like a snowshoe, don't you think? Yeah. And then you want to still play with wood rackets, but you had to go on to the larger head, and you got yourself a Prince. And those were very popular. This is the first one, 1976, Prince Classic. And then the most popular and best-selling graphite racket of all time is the Prince racket. And they still sell it, and people still see people play with it. They can't stop. So this is a small portion of things. I'll say this as well, and then come to this. Gentleman and some of you obviously know John English, his brother Sam English. He wrote this book, The History of Women's Tennis, and he passed away some years ago. And the family gave me permission to update it, and I did so back in 2010. And every time I see John, he says, "When are you going to update the book again?" Well, John, it took me 2 years to do this. It's time consuming, but I'm going to let you do that. But if you take a look at this, and we have all of our great Kentucky champions in here, high school championships, high school players, all of our Hall of Famers up to that point are listed here. So, and if anybody is interested in getting a copy of Awesome Excellence, just let me know. I'm happy to help you out. All right. Well, I didn't bore you all too much in this little talk about tennis history, but if you have anybody have any questions about it?